The first patch of the year completely flipped the meta on its head, with most of the strongest units dropping out of the higher tiers and new comps popping up. In this video, I'll show you my tier list of the strongest comps, my strategy for climbing on this patch, and lastly, I'll cover how to play all the comps mentioned. This set is incredibly flexible, so every single comp on this list can be changed to a certain degree depending on your augments and the units you hit. So let's jump right into the tier list. In S tier, 4 Ace is the strongest endgame board on this patch, but relies heavily on hitting Mordekaiser. Additionally, your 3 most important units are always contested, so make sure you fast 8 with enough gold to hit them. Sureshot Samira remains the strongest AD carry in the game after being untouched in the last patch. This comp is very flexible and caps out very high once you hit your legendaries. Renegade Viego is back in S tier after some buffs. However, without Viego 2, Leona, and Affilios, this comp struggles to stabilize properly when playing from behind. In A tier, Kaisa Reroll is the strongest reroll comp. This comp is easy to play, but struggles to top 4 without hitting 3 stars, and you need good augments to win games. Anima MF can snowball into a free top 4 if you can get Anima Squad in early with a strong board. The main strength of this comp is the consistency in spiking your board when rolling at level 6 and 7, but this comp struggles if you can't stabilize enough to find the legendaries. Vertical threats is the easiest way to play the game, and the buffs to Urgot and Fiddle have prevented this comp from falling off in the late game. Like 4As, you can carry AP or AD depending on what items you hit. Zed remains a strong top 4 comp after the dualist nerfs. However, it is much harder now to win streak during the mid game, and you need perfect augments and items to win games. 6 lasercorps is also a good option if you manage to hit Mordekaiser. Soraka is a comp that can take many forms. You have to be flexible based on your items, augments, and what you hit, so this comp is hard to play, but it is very strong in the right hands. Draven Reroll is back after some buffs. If you are able to hit 3 stars and push levels for 5 mech, then you can get a top 2. But if you hit too late, you're destined for a bot 4. Spellslinger Taliyah is still playable after the nerfs, but it is still not what it once was. This is just a top 4 comp now that needs perfect items and augments to do well. Camille Reroll is another strong comp that can win games if you hit it early enough to push levels, but it needs very specific items to work and can often fall behind if you don't hit it early enough. Now let's take a look at my strategy for climbing in this patch. There are 4 viable starting items in the meta right now: bow, rod, cloak, and chain. If you want to prioritize Samira as she is the strongest reliable comp, then bow is a good choice, as it still leaves you open to Zed and Kaisa. If you want to lean more into MF and Viego, rod is the best item. But if you want to remain flexible, then cloak or chain are the best options, as they allow you to easily make items for Set, who is the best frontline in the game right now, while also making items like Locket and Edge of Night for duelists and Spark for Viego and other AP comps. Due to the lack of econ traits in the game, you should try to win streak during the early game if possible. If you have AP items, Jinx, Lulu, and Kaisa are the best early game carries, while Ashe, Sivir, Senna, and Vayne are the best AD item holders. Here are some examples of strong early game boards: Gadgettine Lulu, Star Guardian Lux, Ashe Lasercorps, Kaisa Recon with any frontline, 3 Renegade, 4 Duelist, and Anima Squad Jinx. The only econ trait in the game is Underground, and the units themselves are generally weaker to compensate for the strength of the future cash-outs. You should usually play this if it's given to you on 2-1, but if you don't hit it until 2-5 or later, I would generally avoid this, as your first cash-out won't happen until after 3-2. Now let's take a look at how to play all the comps mentioned. After the buffs to MF, Set, and Mordekaiser, 4 Ace is the comp with the highest cap in the meta. You should only ever play this if you can push for a fast 8 with enough money to roll for Mordekaiser and Samira, MF, and Set 2-star with this board, with Fiddle and Urgot as flex units that can also be 5 mech or anything else. Remember that these are the most contested units in the meta, so make sure you roll early and often if you are contested, or else you're going to be headed for a bot 4. You should carry either MF or Samira depending on your items. Samira wants AD items like Last Whisper, Giant Slayer, and Hurricane, while MF wants AP items like Sojin, JG, and Gunblade, while Set wants tank items, especially ones that heal him, like Declaw and Redemption. The best augments for this comp include Second Wind, Hustler, Portable Forge, Sunfire Board, Jewel Lotus, Celestial Blessing, Clear Mind, and Ascension. And the best hero augments are the ones for Samira, MF, and Set, and support augments for Wukong, Jax, Sivir, Draven, and Leona. Sureshot Samira is a flexible comp that prefers to roll at level 8, as your main carry is a 4 cost, and you want to hit legendary units like Affilios, Fiddlesticks, and Urgot. You can play this comp with just about any frontline, but these are the 2 most standard boards, the bottom with Mech frontline and the top with Aegis frontline. You can also consider playing Zac with a civilian frontline or boards with 4 Sureshots. Use Senna as the item holder for Samira, and play Sivir until you hit Aphelios, and Jax until you hit Leona in the mech comp. Last Whisper is the only core item on Samira. After that, the best items are damage amplifiers like Hurricane, Giant Slayer, Guardbreaker, and IE. Viego was just rebuffed in the new patch, and he is back in S tier. Like the other 4-cost carries, you want to roll level 8 for this board with Viego 2, Aphelios, and Leona if you can. But you can easily roll level 7 for just Viego and a 2-star frontline. The strength of this comp is how hard you stabilize off of both Viego 2 with good items, as it allows you to quickly push levels for legendaries. Spark is Viego's only core item, with his other items being a damage item like JG, Titans, Archangels, or Deathcap, and a healing item like Gunblade, BT, or Hodge. The best hero augments for this comp are support augments for Viego, Talon, Alistar, Aphelios, Camille, and Leona, and the best augments for this comp are Jewel Lotus, Celestial Blessing, Battle Mage, and Thrill of the Hunt. Kaisa Reroll is a reroll comp, meaning that you slow roll above 50 gold at level 7 for this board minus the Echo, who is a flex unit at level 8 that can be Vel'Koz, Zac, Fiddle, or Urgot. You can also drop Nyla for a flex unit as well, if you have no Bane items. Kaisa's only core item is Shiv, while the other 2 items want to be a mix of Rageblade, Giant Slayer, JG, Guardbreaker, Archangels, Hodge, and Gunblade. If you can't make Shiv, then make a Spark on Rammus. A healing augment is enough to drop Hodge, and if you have leftover AD items, itemize Vayne. She wants raw damage items, as she deals true damage with her spell. These are items like Hurricane, Deathblade, IE, Hodge, and Giant Slayer. Always put your tank items on Rammus or Cho'Gath, but preferably Rammus. Good augments include Double Trouble, Triforce, Trade Sector, Preparation, Phony Frontline, and Jewel Lotus. The best hero augments include ones for Rammus and Cho'Gath, carry augments for Nyla and Kaisa, and support augments for Rel, Cho'Gath, Echo, Vi, and Ezreal. Next up is Anima Squad Misfortune. She is back as a good AP carry after the recent changes to her targeting. You usually should roll down at level 7 for 1 MF, 1 Echo, and Riven 2 with this board, with Sejuani being a flex unit. If you get +1 Anima Squad, play 7 Anima Squad and put the spat on Echo or Fiddle if you hit him. MF's only core item is Sojin, so she can cast earlier. Other than that, she wants damage items like Giant Slayer, Guardbreaker, JG, or Deathcap. Tank items should go on Riven or Echo, while you can put extra AD items on Vayne if you have them. The best augments for this comp include Ascension, Jewel Lotus, Portable Forge, Trade Sector, Cybernetic Uplink, Second Wind, and Makeshift Armor. And the best hero augments are both Riven, and MF augments, and support augments for Nasus, Jinx, Echo, Silas, and Vi. Vertical Threats is the easiest comp to play in set 8 as there are no traits involved, and all the units are good. Rolling on both 7 and 8 is good for this comp, as Vel'Koz, Rammus, and Cho'Gath 3 are very powerful units, while being able to hit and play Urgot and Fiddlesticks is great as well, as these are the 2 best units in the game at the moment. You should decide what to do depending on your HP, gold, and how many 3-cost threats you have on your bench. Keep in mind this comp is flexible, and you can drop any threats for any other good units as well. AP items go on Aesol or Vel'Koz, while AD items go on Bel'Veth. Put your tank items on Rammus if you're going to 3-star him, otherwise put him on Zac. Consider itemizing Fiddle as well if you are in a good position to hit him. The best augments for this comp include Loaded Dice, Woodland Charm, High Roller, Triforce, Jewel Lotus, and Threat Level Maximum, and pretty much all threat hero augments are great for this comp. Dualist Zed is still a great top 4 comp in this meta. The standard level 8 board for him looks like this, with Vayne as the secondary carry. If you have to roll level 7, drop Sejuani or Zoe. If you get +1 Duelist, play 8 Duelists or drop GP for a better unit like Fiddle or Urgot. Zed wants 3 offensive items since he has healing from Hacker. The best items are Edge of Night and Hurricane, while Last Whisper, Guardbreaker, Giant Slayer, Deathblade, IE, and Hodge also work. Prioritize making lockets for your frontline, as they provide a ton of stall for your Zed, so he can kill the backline. Another good Zed board is the 6 lasercorps variant, especially if you get +1 lasercorps. This comp is heavily reliant on hitting Mordekaiser though, so you only play it if you hit him, or if you think you can hit him. The best augments for Zed include Celestial Blessing, Knife's Edge, Thrill of the Hunt, Cybernetic Implants, Pony Frontline, and Portable Forge. And the best hero augments are both of Zed's and Vayne's augments, and the support augments for Fiora, Yasuo, Gangplank, Nyla, Zoe, Ashe, and Mordekaiser. Soraka is a great AP carry on the meta that can fit into a lot of boards. Here is one example of a level 8 board, in which you can play 4 Heart with Syndra, Sona, and Yuumi. But you can easily drop these units for others like LeBlanc, Nunu, Lulu, Janna, and Fiddle, depending on what you hit and what augments you have. This comp easily thrives with +1 Heart, as Heart Spout on Zoe can create one of the strongest boards in the game. In general, you have two choices with this comp. Roll at level 7 for 3 stars like Zoe and Sona, and then carry them, or push level 8, which you do depends on your augments, whether you are contested, and how many copies of 3 costs you have on your bench. The best augments for this comp are Jewel Lotus, Cybernetic Uplink, Luden's Echo, Stand United, and Heartcrest, while the best hero augments are both Soraka augments, Sona carry augment, and support augments for Syndra, Yuumi, Annie, Echo, Zoe, LeBlanc, Syndra, and Lulu. Draven Reroll has surprisingly come back into the meta after some buffs, and this is a good option to play if you get good augments for Draven. Typically, you reroll him at level 6 with supers on this board minus Leona and Set. Slow roll above 50 gold until you hit Lee Sin, Malphite, and Draven, and then push levels for 5 mech, or other good flex units like threats. Draven's best items are Last Whisper and Rageblade, while other good items include Guardbreaker, Titans, BT, Gunblade, IE, and Hodge. The best augments for this comp include Featherweights, Thrill of the Hunt, Axiom Arc, Band of Thieves, Golden Ticket, Big Friend, and Jewel Lotus, while the best hero augments include both Draven augments and support augments for Wukong, Gangplank, Lee Sin, and Jax. Taliyah has fallen off hard after the nerfs to Spellslinger, but she remains a viable carry in the meta, but this comp is heavily reliant on hitting Syndra. Ideally, you want to roll level 8, as you want to hit Taliyah and Echo too, and Janna and Syndra, but usually you will need to roll level 7 for this board, or you drop Syndra and Janna for Sona. Taliyah gets her AP from Spellslinger, so you want items that multiply that damage like JG, Guardbreaker, and Giant Slayer. Sojin and Blue Buff are good for mana, and Shiv is good for Shred, and Gunblade heals up your frontline. Tank items are typically best on Annie, especially Spark, which amplifies Taliyah's damage greatly. The best augments are Luden's Echo, Phony Frontline, Stand United, and Cybernetic Uplink, while the best hero augments are both of Taliyah's augments, Sona's augments, along with Lux, Annie, Yuumi, Echo, and Syndra support augments. Lastly, we have Camille Reroll, who is another good 2-cost reroll comp. While you slow roll level 6 for Camille 3-star with this board minus Zoe and Echo, you can also play 4 admin over 4 Ox Force if the admin is good. Specifically ones that provide AD to your team. If you get +1 Renegade, beeline for 6 Renegade as soon as you hit Camille 3-star, as this is always the strongest board you can play. Once you hit Camille 3, you always want to add in Hacker as soon as possible to send Camille to the backline to assassinate carries. Her best items are healing items like BT or Hodge, and 2 damage items like Titans, Giant Slayer, or IE. Once you itemize Camille, you itemize Viego, and put Spark and other AP items on him like JG, Deathcap, Giant Slayer, and Guardbreaker. The best augments for this comp include Jewel Lotus, Celestial Blessing, Battle Mage, Featherweights, Sunfire Board, Thrill of the Hunt, and High Roller, and the best hero augments are both Camille augments and support augments for Talon, Viego, LeBlanc, Alistar, Leona, and Annie. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they're available for you to members and patrons, and links to those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.